Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopitana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopitana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopitana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopitana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Kiradana Sari Jamuna Kiradana Sari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Kiradanansari Jamuna Kiradanansari Jamuna Kiradanansari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radhe Radha Madhava, Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radhe Radha Madhava, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jayam Vishupad Paramahamsa Pri Vrajagacharya Stotra Satta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charanarinda Bhakti Raghava Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Santa Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandibhiti Founder Charyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Pimanande. All glories to the Samudavatis, all glories to the Samudavatis, all glories to the Samudavatis, all glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada Ki. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Taksurandekam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sagradatam Sahagana Raghunatan Ditam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabarutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanditam Scha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutirivi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara, Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Sri Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil. And loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama
Idam Bhagavata Nama
Puranam Brahmasamitam
Puranam Brahmasamitam
Uttama Charitam
Uttama Shloka Charitam
Sakara Bhagavan Rishi
Chakara Bhagavan Rishi
Nishreyasaya Lokasya
Nishreyasaya Lokasya
Dhanyam Swasayanam Maha.
Dhanyam Swasayanam Mahat.
The Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, as Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita
Shri
Gadadhara
Advaita Gadadhara
Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare
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 Rama Hare Rama
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Sarabhyaya Namaha
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Om Sarabhyaya Namaha
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Om Sarabhyaya Namaha
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Mukam karoti vatalam pangum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam class. We are continuing from Canto number 1, chapter 17, entitled Punishment and Reward of Kali. Yes, and I believe it is text number? Yes, 9 is there. Correct, that is correct. Yes. Ma Surabhe Yatra
Surabhe Yatra.
Shucho
Shucho.
Vyetu
Vetu.
Te
Te.
Vrishalad
Vrishalat.
Bhayam
Bhayam.
Ma
Ma.
Rodir
Rodir.
Amba
Amba.
Bhadram
Bhadram.
Te
Te.
Kalanam
Kalanam.
Mayi
Mayi.
Shastrari
Shastari.
Shastari. Yes. Masorabhe yatra shucho
Masorabhe yatra shucho
Vetu te vrishalad bhayam
Vetu te vrishalad bhayam
Marodir amba bhadram te
Marodir amba bhadram te
Kalanam mayi shastari
Kalanam mayi shastari
Masorabhe yatra shucho
Masorabhe yatra shucho
Vetu te vrishalad bhayam
Vetu te vrishalad bhayam
Marodir amba bhadram te
Marodir amba bhadram te
Kalanam mayi shastari
Kalanam mayi shastari
Masorabhe yatra shucho
Masorabhe yatra shucho
Vetu te vrishalad bhayam
Vetu te vrishalad bhayam
Marodir amba bhadram te
Marodir amba bhadram te
Kalanam mayi shastari
Kalanam mayi shastari
Masorabhe yatra shucho
Masorabhe yatra shucho
Vetute vishalat bhayam
Vetu te vrishalad bhayam
Marodir amba bhadram te
Marodir amba bhadram te Kalanam Mayi Shastari.
Ma Saurabhyatra Shucho
Masorabe Yatra Sucho.
Vetute Vrishaladvayam
Bhetute Vrishaladbhayam.
Marudiramba Bhadram Te
Marudiramba Badram Te.
Kalanam Vaishasturi
Kalanam Mayi Shastari.
Ma saurabhe yatra sucho
Masorabe Yatra Sucho.
vetu te vrishaladbhayam
Bhetute Vrishaladbhayam.
marodhira amba bhadram te
Marudiramba Badram Te.
khalana mai shastari
Kalanam Mayi Shastari.
ma
Do not.
do not
Saurabheya,
saurabheya
O son of Surabhi.
surabhi
Atra,
Atra,
in my kingdom.
in my kingdom,
Shuchaha,
Shuchaha,
lamentation.
lamentation,
Vitu,
we too,
let there be.
let there be,
Te,
te
your.
you,
Vrishalat,
vishalat
by the Shudra.
by the Shudra,
Bhayam,
Vayam,
cause of fear.
cause of fear,
Ma,
Ma,
do not.
no,
Rodi,
Rodi,
cry. Amba, class Shudra. And class Shudra. And, O mother cow, as long as I am living as the ruler, envious men, everything will be good for you. Kindly repeat after me. O son of Surabhi,
O son of surabhi
you need lament no longer now.
you need lament no longer now
There is no need to fear.
now
There is no need to fear
there is no need to fear
this low class as long as I am living. As long as I am living.
as long as I am living
As the ruler and subduer
as the ruler and subduer
of all envious men,
of all envious men.
there is no cause for you to cry.
There is no cause for you to cry.
Everything will be good for you.
Everything will be good for you.
Purport. Protection of bulls and cows and all other animals can be possible only when there is a state ruled by an executive head like Maharaj Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit addresses the cow as mother, for he is a cultured, twice-born Kshatriya king. Surabhi is the name of the cows which exist in the spiritual planets and are especially reared by Lord Sri Krishna himself. As men are made after the form and features of the Supreme Lord, so also the cows are made after the form and features of the Surabhi cows in the spiritual kingdom. In the material world, the human society gives all protection to the human being, but there is no law to protect the descendants of Surabhi, who can give all protection to men by supplying the miracle food, milk. But Maharaj Parikshit and the Pandavas were fully conscious of the importance of the cow and bull, and they were prepared to punish the cow killer with all chastisement, including death. There has sometimes been agitation for the protection of the cow, but for want of pious executive heads and suitable laws, the cow and the bull are not given protection. The human society should recognize the importance and thus give all protection to these important animals, following in the footsteps of Maharaj Parikshit. For protecting the cows and Brahminical culture, the Lord, who is very kind to the cows and the Brahmanas, Go Brahmana Hitaya, will be pleased with us and will bestow upon us real peace. End of the purport. Translation again, O son of Srabi, you need lament no longer now. There is no need to fear this low-class Shudra. And, O mother cow, as I am living as the ruler and subduer of all envious men, there is no chance for you to cry. Everything will be good for you. Yes. So the word Surabhi appears in the yeah, the bull is referred to here as mentioned here, actually in Shastra about this. And since it is part of the text, I can share one such reference which which underlines the importance of Mother Surabhi and where is should have it here. It is in this particular reference that where is it now? It was at the tip. That's where we find the mantra Surabhyaya Namaha, actually. Here we go. Yes. It is, there are different shastras that speak actually about the importance of Surabhi. Surabhi is not only on our planet. Cows are they're in heavenly planets. And because jagyas are being performed, jagya is essential in the Vedic culture. So this This reference here is from the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. Specifically, it is referred to as the Prakriti Kanda, 47th chapter. And it is Narada Muni's conversation on Mother Surabhi. The chapter describes the birth of Surabhi, and it goes as follows. Pujam Chakara Bhagavan Surabhyas Chapura Mune Tato Babuva Tat Puja Trishu Lokeshu Dulaba. The translation, this is text. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, first worshipped Surabhi in Goloka long back, and on the rare worship of the Surabhi began in the whole universe. So Krishna started worship of Surabhi, and it was introduced throughout the universe. That was text 13. Then text 14, I'll just read the translation. By the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, the worship of Surabhi on the next day of Diwali festival, Kartik. So on the next day of Diwali, commenced in the whole world. I heard this from the mouth of Jamaraj, Narada Muni. Narada Muni is traveling constantly all over the world, sometimes in the material world, sometimes in the spiritual world. So he is always eager to hear from authorities like Jamaraj. So Jamaraj mentioned this point when the worship of Surabhi was started after Diwali. Text 15, there's just about 4 or 5 verses here. Text 15, I shall now tell you the means to meditate, glorify, chant the mantra, and method of worshipping Surabhi, all which is told in the sacred Vedas. We don't need to invent anything, it is all there in the Vedas. And text 16 specifically is Om Surabhyai Namaha Iti Mantrogyam Tusad Akshara. Om Surabhyai Namaha is the mantra, which is a 6-lettered mantra, meaning my respectful obeisances to Surabhi. Chanting this mantra 1,00,000 times bestows all achievement and fulfills all desires of devotees of the Supreme Lord. And there are 2 more references here that continue. Number 17, this worship and remembrance and worship of Surabhi is told in Yajurveda, and it can bestow success, prosperity, and liberation from the cycle of birth and death. And the last, number 18, Lakshmi Swarupam Paramam Radha Sahasarim Param. Gavam adhistatri devim gavam adyam gavam prashum, which is non-different from Lakshmi Devi. She is personal associate and most dear to Srimati Radharani. Mother Surabhi is the presiding deity and the mother of all the cows. Yeah. From Brahma Vaivarta Purana 2.47. Text 13 to 8. So, Parikshit Maharaj is speaking to both Mother Surabhi and also the bull, who represents Dharma, reassuring them that as long as he is living, as long as I'm living as the ruler and subduer of all envious men, then there is no need for you to lament. So this is like a very obvious criteria as to who is actually a qualified leader, isn't it? From our Vedic perspective, a bona fide and qualified leader is someone who is attentive and caring for the protection of all living entities, and especially understanding the value and the importance of cows in general. Just yesterday we had one on what is it? Hare Krishna television on the subject of cows, milk,
It's a wonderful interview.
and varnashram. Yeah. So we become very often overly, put that down. We become overly obsessed with milk. Most devotees and people have a total misconception, misunderstanding of milk in particular, and how especially in the context of modern day society, most of the milk that is being consumed is not healthy milk. In most cases, it is not even milk, isn't it? If we could become as preoccupied about milk or interested in milk and getting milk as we should become preoccupied with the proper care and maintenance of cows, then, in other words, we should. Shastra explains that when cows are properly cared for and maintained, and that's only possible when we live with cows, which means that actually only those who take care of cows should be eligible to take milk or drink milk, because only they can be assured that the cows are properly protected and that we're not drinking contaminated produce. Especially in a place like India, it's been established that this was just a few years ago, that maybe 2/3 milk available on the market is does not equate with the number of cows in India. 2/3 of some very high figure, some, 1/3 or 2/3 of the milk that is sold, not enough cows to produce that milk. That means that it's not milk, and this has been proven. Because people are manufacturing, making with chemicals, so-called, which is naturally a great disservice and very detrimental, very bad for the health, obviously. You're drinking, whatnot. So the whole question, the whole of society actually can only, the problems within society will only be properly dealt with when this is also mentioned, when we give priority and first attention, which obviously in general society nowadays especially we don't. And even we as devotees, what percentage of our devotees have cows? Less than 1%. Practically no one has cows because everyone's living in the cities, majority of people. We are living opposite of what the Vedic culture is teaching us. Vedic culture is teaching us to live in the country. One of the primary purposes and reasons to live in the country is we can live with cows. And Krishna's plan is that when we live with cows, then we, by serving cows, just by being in the physical presence of cows, we actually benefit materially. Because cows are by nature, cows are automatically by nature in the mode of goodness. And in the human form of life, unless we come to the mode of goodness, we cannot understand about spiritual life. We cannot take to devotional service, isn't it? Evam prasana manaso bhagavat bhakti yogataha. Unless the mind is peaceful, prasana, brahma bhuta prasanatma, unless the mind is peaceful, then we cannot properly take up the process of devotional service. So there's a direct and intimate connection. We fail to understand this. Unfortunately, even as devotees, to a large extent. We read about it, but the fact of the matter is, practically no one is even considering that this is how we should be living. But that is obvious if we just read the descriptions that are there in the Shastra. If we simply understand that this is one of the reasons why Krishna appears in Vrindavan, this is how we live, this is how we are meant to live. Only then, otherwise cows are as it is in modern day dairy industry, they're machines. They're seen as machines. Um, I'm sure that's similar situation in other temples, but in Canada, Montreal temple, we would get. Actually, we wanted to get cow. Milk from cow. But it's very rare to find that are protected that will house. So devotees, they had some arranged. So every time, and of course computerized and mechanized, they extract the my machine. Dairy industry cannot function without way of taking the milk from the cows. They keep the record, and they have a quota that as soon as the cow 10 liters of milk, you're out. Cow is still giving 10 liters of milk. I forget exactly there's a number. If you come below, if you don't produce, you know, more than this, or if you come below this line, then economically, because it's all based on economics. This is the wrong economics. It's simply exploitation. We read in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam how the loving exchange between the residents of Vrindavan. And we can just think about it, why that loving exchange is there. That loving exchange actually begins when the small calves are personally being taken care of by cowherd boys, isn't it? We know how it's like babies, small children. They're very cute. They're very attractive. They're very lovable. They start speaking in broken words and whatnot. So calves are also, the small calves. They're very attractive, and they're very, new life, new body for them. So the idea is that that's part of the system also, Krishna's system, is that young boys, that's also described in the 11th chapter, the daily activities of Krishna, 10th canto, and specifically verse 37, we were reading sometime back. Verse 37 of that 11th chapter describes how Krishna and Balaram and so many other hundreds, if not thousands of cowherd boys, they would go with so many cows, not cows. And Prabhupada makes that statement with something I could not mention yesterday, but this is Vedic education for the majority of young boys. Majority of young boys don't go to Gurukul. When this goes off, you have to look whether this continues or not.
Sorry.
Okay. So the point I'm trying to make is that that affection, that relationship, that personal relationship that is meant to be there between human beings is facilitated by how we interact with calves and then cows. If a child is nicely cared for as a young child, then he'll grow up he will be more emotionally balanced, isn't it? And he'll be able to have normal interaction and relationships as a young person, as an adult. We see how this is very much lacking in modern day society because of broken homes, because more and more children are with what we call single parents, either the mother or the father, usually the mother, or in many cases they're orphans. In America now, 50% approximately of children are born out of wedlock, not knowing who their father is. So the point is, unless we learn these not only human relations or relationships, but the calf is because cows are also, their next birth is to become human beings automatically by the by the law of nature. So so this is all part of Krishna's plan. Unless we learn to develop these personal relationships, which is meant to be there with cows, with calves to begin with, then with cows as they grow up, and then amongst ourselves as human beings, then we cannot, it is not possible to develop our relationship with Krishna. We first learn to develop a relationship with amongst ourselves, and of course spiritual master is also an important link in also helping us to develop personal relationships, because ultimately this is the problem for the vast majority of conditioned souls in the material world. We have broken our relationship with Krishna, isn't it? We have broken our friendship with Krishna. Whatever relationship we had with Krishna, that has been disrupted. And it has been in that condition, that disrupted condition, that broken relationship has been there for very, very long period of time. And therefore, because it's been absent, therefore, that's one of the reasons it's so difficult to revive, to reestablish that relationship. So in other words, Krishna has created this system in terms of society where Mother Surabhi and her calves, I hear mentioning, the son of Subhadra, the son of Surabhi, rather, the son of Surabhi, the bull. So we should know as devotees, as followers of the Vedic culture, that this is the only way to re-establish, to reignite, Krishna consciousness within ourselves by restoring Krishna's system. Krishna has a system. Krishna has a perfect system. And it's only those who are giving sufficient time to read and to discuss the system has given, that are explained in the Bhagavatam, then we can restore our relationship with Krishna. We can restore how society is meant to be organized, etc. We're very, very far away from that, but unless we know what is meant to be the ideal, and that ideal, of course, is Vrindavan, then at least we know what the goal is, and we should be striving towards that goal. That's why we don't hear about cows going out by themselves. Cows go out with cowherds. You see. Any thoughts? One personal, I see. Yes.
Maharaj, going out with cows.
Huh?
Going out with cows
Yes.
means from morning to evening
Yes.
you are on the field.
Yes.
And how you learn higher science and other important knowledge like rulership, time out on the field.
Okay, good question. How? Because when Prabhupada says going out with the calves in particular, for the young boys,
No, with the goose also.
yeah, going out with the cows, going out with the bulls. Prabhupada says this is Vedic education. So how is one learning? One will not be learning what the Dvijas, I mean what the, especially the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas, the Brahmanas and the different subject matters of warfare, etc. That is part of what we formal education. But there's a whole exchange, there's a whole learning process that takes place for those who are both Vaishyas and Shudras. Vaishyas and Shudras are, Krishna is playing the role of Vaishya, being the foster child of Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda. So Krishna learns only the art of military science, Kshatriya science, after he leaves Vrindavan, isn't it? When he goes to Mathura, then Vasudeva and Devaki, they send both Krishna and Balaram to the Sandipani Muni ashram, where they learn the sciences for Kshatriyahood. But there's a whole series of things that children can learn and do learn when they are, see, there are boys of different ages. That's described in the Nectar Devotion, right? They have names, different names also. Some of the cowherd boys are older than Krishna. Krishna has friends who are older than him. He has friends who are his own age. He has friends who are younger than him. So naturally, people who are older will generally know some things that younger ones don't know. So there's a whole exchange that takes place. Especially when the whole Vedic culture is in place, there's a natural educational process that takes place when children are allowed to be in a natural environment, which they are when they go with the cows in the different forests of Vrindavan. There's so many things to learn from nature itself. And in that natural environment, interacting with children of similar age, some of them slightly older, some of them slightly younger, there's a whole learning process that takes place in relation to land, in relation to cows, in relation to just interpersonal relationship, for example. And see, very difficult for us. I mean, I also cannot fully understand, because like most devotees, most of us have not been brought up in that Vedic culture, Vedic atmosphere. But it's like every day the children, the residents of Vrindavan, they're associating and hearing from elders also, isn't it? So although they go out, when they in the middle of the afternoon, in the latter part, so there's all kinds of learning activities. Like we know how even just a few hundred years ago, and even maybe in some places now, the evenings used to be, they call in Orissa, they had what they call Bhagavatungi. Bhagavatungi. They have something similar in Bengal. We are in Bengal here. When you visit some places, then in the middle, in some particular place, that's where people come and they hear different types of katha. Television and cell phones and everything else has completely destroyed that, practically speaking. But before, so I'm saying that every that was the way of becoming educated and cultured for the vast majority of people, because it was only the very small percentage of people who would go to, who would receive academic education, is formal education that is meant only for brahmanas and kshatriyas. So Vaishyas and the rest of the population, they would not need education. They not only they wouldn't need it, but it was not accessible, because it requires a lot of intelligence to spend hours and hours to study books. You you give a book on astrology to ordinary person, they'll give it back to you within a short time. It's even these subject matters that brahmanas and that kshatriyas study, unless one has good developed brain, he cannot study these subjects. So in other words, this is another important dimension, that children, young boys, when they go out, then they carry with them what they have learned, as they are growing up in that environment. We don't have that environment now, and therefore we cannot understand. So it is established by psychologists that children have an immense ability to learn so many things, especially when they were younger, and when they are allowed to be by themselves in a natural environment. And of course, that's why they are, as young children, looking after the small calves. And so that's why this particular book called Krishna Krida. Krishna Krida is one of the 64 arts and sciences, which means different different games, playful activities. A book which has been translated actually from Sanskrit by Chandra Prabhu. And so these 64 arts were known and were lived, were practiced, like how to make this, what do you call it, these different rangoli, when they decorate.
Rangoli.
Yes. So that's a whole art, that's a whole science. And like this, there's so many the art of playing mridanga, the art of singing, the art of dancing. These are all part of these 64 arts and sciences. So this is what, people were, these 64 arts and sciences were alive. and people who had some affinity would, to a different extent or at certain levels, and these things would be shared. Krishna and Balaram, cowherd boys that would learn flute playing. Krishna is renowned for his flute playing. They would learn dancing, and they would do these things as well. When they are out, they would play all kinds of games that that we have never been exposed to. And in this way, they would acquire knowledge. They would develop on so many different levels, and that was their way of education. A lot of the education was not at all in a formal setting as we now have, that we call school. So this whole modern system of schooling is very, very artificial, very very motivated, and therefore the whole system, because knowledge is being sold for a particular purpose of ultimately training people for the labor market, which is totally oriented towards so-called economic development, etc. It's just very very artificial, and therefore not at all satisfying. That's why there is, one of the, in America, I was just reading a few days ago, every 7 minutes there's a suicide. People are committing suicide. What are the major problems? Not only in America and all over the world. And therefore that means that people are not happy, isn't it? And society, as long as it remains removed from what is meant to be the natural arrangement as described in the pages of the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is teaching us what is the norm, what is the standard, what is the perfect society. Then we'll continue to have all kinds of major disruptions and whatnot. So that's why, for example, although we are promoting Gurukul, that's only one system of education. The other system of education must be connected with land and with cows. And that is, we have to teach in Gurukul, especially the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, to arrange that kind of system. And therefore, the purpose of having Brahmanas and Kshatriyas is that they will, when we have such qualified persons, they'll be in the best position to help revive villages where the whole culture is centered around this way of living, these natural arts and sciences that are described in our Shastra, and all focused and centered on agriculture, natural agriculture. Time was not there, but one of the two important statements or concepts in Vedic culture in terms of agriculture, you produce only what you need, and you consume or utilize only what you produce. That is meant to be the ideal. That is meant to be the standard. Produce only what you need and use only what you produce. Yeah. So devotees need to discuss these points. They are brought up again and again, especially in the first canto of the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada actually purposely put many things, put everything actually. The whole essence of the Bhagavatam is there in the first canto. Okay. We need to break for now. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Sri Prabhupada ki. Yes.